Hi, I'm Ashley. I have found that I feel really challenged in the past with doing stuff on the goal line in terms of career. I just feel really stuck, and I know that I'm not really doing what I came here to do. And I would just really like some help with just like small action steps I can really take towards gaining some clarity.
What is it that you are currently doing? Well, let's start with that question.
Like in terms of career,
Yes.
yeah, I wait tables.
Okay. All right.
No judgment.
I
Yes.
did. I did it.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. If there were a sacred dream that has been held in your heart from the time that you were a tiny little girl, a vision that you've held for yourself in this life, what is that? What would that be?
I've been asking myself that question and I am still not really sure. Like I have like these bigger picture ideas of, like I just want the financial freedom so I can travel the world and, take these classes or whatever. But it's kind of like, okay, well that's great, but I need to do something in this reality that where I can earn money and ideally be happy and enjoy doing to get me there. And so now I feel stuck.
Well, what I would encourage you to do is to back up because wealth is a byproduct of service. And in its highest and best, wealth is a byproduct of service. So then part of the question becomes, how can I serve? What are my unique gifts and abilities and the thing that brings me joy and aliveness, enthusiasm that I can contribute?
And I have gone there a little bit, and I'm realizing that it brings up a lot of like the self-worth stuff, like the who am I to do that, or I'm not good enough, or I don't have that skill set, or
That skill set.
yeah.
The
Skill
skill
set
set.
for what?
It feels funny even saying it, but like to really be a healer, to really be of service to people, like on that deep, like energetic, emotional level, like that's what I really want to do.
I thought you wanted to travel the world.
And that too. Yeah,
A
incorporate
traveling
them both.
healer.
Well, so when you say healer, what does that mean to you?
Someone who really just holds a deep, loving space for others and is really able to guide them through their challenges in whatever way that's possible. I mean, I've done some shamanic training. I have like Reiki certification. I mean, I can read tarot cards. Like, I've explored a lot of different ways to kind of incorporate it. I've done a lot of just own self research in terms of like, healthy eating habits and things of that nature. So I do have tools just based on my own
So
kind of
you've already
experiment.
invested in your training and you have, it sounds like, learned some things. What you said, though, that really stands out is what you said about worthiness.
Mm,
And it sounds, and that's when the emotions started to come forward too.
yeah.
So I'm asking you, what is it inside of you that holds you into the misidentification of yourself as unworthy to serve as a healer,
Well, I mean, I think a lot of it's just like family conditioning.
such as?
Okay. Just like a lot of verbal abuse from my father growing up.
All right. And what kinds of things would he say to you, just to give me some idea?
One of the things that he said was to my mom, who told me, he was like, your daughter's never going to graduate college. She's going to be nothing but a waitress for the rest of her life. And I'm still waiting tables.
So it sounds like you really took that in, that you really took that in, and now you're living that as though that were the truth about who you are. How long ago did you graduate from college?
Like 9 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, one part of what he said, you've already demonstrated as inaccurate.
Right.
So, it's time to let go of the second half of buying into the misbelief that you'll never amount to anything and you'll just be a waitress.
As if that was a bad thing.
In
See,
my
and
mind, it is, though.
well, I hear you, but you know what? I have a challenge for you. You can Bring the healing consciousness no matter what form of work that you do. You could bring it as a waitress, and that might begin to give you a greater sense of worth and value and contribution through what you're doing there. How do you feel when you go to work?
Well, I have realized I'm like, well, work is a wonderful opportunity for me to really like practice my skill sets, and I've definitely had moments of it. But then, like, I just worked, like, for example, this week, like 6 days straight, and I just got into survival mode, and I definitely kind of lost that connection. And
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, I would encourage you to work on two fronts. One would be forgiving yourself for having bought into the judgment that you'll never amount to anything, you'll only just be a waitress.
To forgive the judgment that goes with that.
See, and when we take something in like that, it's a kind of implant. It just goes in right here, and it sits here until we let it go, until we take it out and let it go. What your father said to you became the perfect prescription that justifies you hanging out in unworthiness and really not coming forward in the fullness of who you are and sharing the gifts that you have. Because you're called to be in the healing arts and you've already done training to that end, I would say there's something inside you that really has resonance with that. What would it take for you to really let go of this?
I mean, I think I've really been resisting going into like that deep, ugly cry for a long time. I think that's a way to get there. I just don't like how it feels when I'm in it, you know? Like when I'm crying so hard, I can't even breathe.
Yeah, no, I hear you. But you know what? It would just be so liberating for you to just really allow yourself to go there,
Yeah.
to really let it go, because the energy, that's where the energy is stored. Most of the energy is stored on the emotional level, and we hold it in place by limiting beliefs.
Right.
You deserve this. See, it's like you're a beautiful young woman, you have a calling. You're not really stuck. You've been in resistance to doing the piece of inner work that you know will liberate you. And so to
Yeah.
me, you asked for 3-foot tosses, a 3-foot toss, to very lovingly and compassionately take yourself there. You know, and my sense is part of this is taking yourself to the place of how you felt when your mom told you what your dad had said. And maybe other things that he had said to you that tended to be in your inner experience diminishing of who you are.
Yeah.
Have you actually done some of your healing practice? Done Reiki with people? Done some of the shamanic techniques that you
Yes.
learned?
And I did experience what you said. It's not me. I just become a channel
Become a
for that.
conduit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's really a conduit for spirit, a conduit of love, a conduit of grace. And I just encourage you, you are as worthy as anyone to do that.
Thank you.
Very often, when we buy into something like you'll never really amount to anything else, there's the letting go of that. But then there's part two that says, and you must be willing to marshal the courage to stand forward and move into that which you are saying you want to participate in. And there's lots of times that's what people really are afraid of.
See, you know part one.
Yeah.
You know part one. Part two is really the willingness to shed the cloak of the misidentification of yourself as unworthy. To really let that go and to stand up in the love that you are and the gifts that you have, and to continue to hone your consciousness so that you become the best conduit for Spirit's healing energy that you can be.
Right.
And to recognize that the current situation that you find yourself in is the perfect opportunity to do that. See, because the more you do that, the more you will be releasing the misidentification, and the more you will come into completion with whatever the process of serving others as a waitress has been about. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's like the more you stand up in who you are, other doors will open for you, and you'll have more confidence and more courage, as Ron was saying, more strength of heart to knock on those doors.
Okay.
And I just
Give you some
encourage you.
ideas to move forward.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.